Good morning, I am Tom. This is Tom&Co. I embarrassed myself very badly at a recording studio, and I'll tell you all about it. Let's do it. In high school, I think it was my first band. I've been in a lot of bands throughout the years, but my first real one was called By the Throat. We were a metal band. We all had most of us had long hair. We wore only black. It was a lot of fun, just playing heavy music and stuff. The way we wrote songs was that me and the other guitarists, we would just write a riff together, and then we would go off, and then we would write our own riffs based on that riff, and then we would come back and say, okay, we've got a song now. We would just glue riffs to each other. They didn't match necessarily. They didn't always flow. There was not a verse chorus pattern, but but there was a collection of riffs that we just liked enough to put in a song and play them one after the other. So that's how we operated in this particular band. And we had enough songs, and we thought they were good enough. We wanted to go into a recording studio and actually track these songs, put them on a CD, and release them. Our other guitarist, Andrew, we called him Tosis at the time. That was the nickname that I gave him. He knew a guy, family friend, I think. He owned a recording studio. I won't name the studio because it's not a good story, but Tosis's family friend had a recording studio in his basement, and so we went there. We saved up our money. He charged us not a lot of money, but I guess it was, considering that we were only there for a couple hours. So he made a lot of money off of us that day, just given the time that we were there and the work that he did not do for us. But basically, so we as the band pulled up in Skylar, the drummer's car. I forget what he was driving, but it fit all of us in there and some of our gear too. So we all showed up to this guy's recording studio. We went downstairs to his basement. It actually looked okay. He had a drum room over here where the drums were set up, and you could just record the drums, and he had a guitar room over here and another one over here, and then he had a vocal booth on this side. So everybody could be isolated but still hear everything that was going on from the other rooms through headphones. And I saw this as we all walked downstairs, and I was very impressed. I said, wow, this is cool. He's got a big soundboard that takes up half of his room. How could this go wrong? This guy knows what he's doing. This is not a hate video. It's just an embarrassing story video. But I'm trying to build it up just a little bit. So I was enamored. I've always been intrigued by doing audio production myself. This is what I do now. I record bands. In addition to some other things, I suppose. But one of the things that I love doing is recording bands. So I went into this guy's studio, hopefully looking to learn something, take something away from it, just become a sponge from this guy. But he didn't tell us anything really. He just shuttled us off into our own rooms. I was in the guitar room, and the other members were in their respective rooms. But while he was plugging everything up, he had a little patch bay where you just plug everything in, and then it all converts and it goes to where it needs to go. I was admiring his soundboard, and he had a bunch of gadgets, gizmos. He had a lot of trinkets and stuff that were on top, and some of the stuff was just for design. Some of the stuff actually did stuff, and I was too young and naive, and I didn't know what everything did, or if it actually served a purpose, or if it just looked cool. But I remember I walked up to the soundboard, and I saw the knobs and all the faders and all the levels and stuff, and I saw the effects, patch bays and stuff. And one thing in particular caught my eye. I walked right up to it, and I got real close to it like this, and I just stared at it for a good 30 seconds, and I brought the vocalist of the band, Eli, over. Skylar was there behind me too, and the owner of the recording studio was in the same room. We were all in the same room. But I said, hey, what is that? My eyes are this big, and I'm trying to rack my brain. What kind of amazing technology piece of gear am I looking at that's going to make us sound good? What is this thing? What does it do? What purpose does it serve? Because it just looks so space age, and wow. So I said, what is this? And I think it was Eli. It's been a couple of years, but I think it was Eli, the vocalist of the band. He said, Tom, that's a lamp. So I'm young and I'm naive and I don't know all this gear that's around me yet because I've not actually dove into this hobby or into this profession. But I saw this one piece of gear that I'd never seen before, and it just looked so different and magical almost. And I said, "What is this?" And then of course I got embarrassed when the vocalist of my band said, "Tom, that's a lamp." In such a matter of fact, you big dummy kind of a way. So I was embarrassed. Everybody had a good laugh. I told this story a couple of weeks ago on another podcast that I hope to feature here eventually. But I told that story a couple of weeks ago, and it got a good laugh, and it made me remember the good times of being young and being in a band. One thing that I learned from that particular day that we recorded 4 or 5 or 6 songs in one day, just a couple hours. Dude didn't mix anything. He didn't level anything. He just said, plug in, turn on, play, and leave. That was pretty much it. So that's why I say he made a lot of money off of us for hardly doing anything. No disrespect, I guess, but man. So anyways, what I'm shifting to now is that when bands come into my recording studio, they can look at these cool things and they can feel magical and they say, what is this? What is that? Oh my God. But I'm never going to let them leave feeling like they were taken advantage of, or that they were duped or cheap shotted or anything, any other negative words that go along with that. So anyways, so that was that was the time that I embarrassed myself in front of my whole band that I admired and looked up to and were good friends with, and then of course the new random guy who owned the studio. So if you can imagine me, what is that? It's a lamp. It was just sticking out of the console of his desk, and it just looks like something I'd never seen before. So that was the story of how I embarrassed myself at a recording studio and lived to tell about it. I learned a lot from it too, actually. I hope this story was entertaining, maybe a little informative. Maybe you got to know me a little bit better. But either way, if you've ever been in a embarrassing situation where you should have known better, or it was kind of like a duh moment, comment below. I wanna read about your embarrassing moments. Thank you also for liking the video. Thank you for subscribing. If you like this kind of storytelling, let me know. I'll do more. Got plenty of stories. I hope everybody has a good day, especially you, and I will see you next time. Thank you.